Hi, welcome back to Comic Book Gallery. How you doing this evening, people? If you're like me, you just watched the game and was like, damn, that Super Bowl was boring. But I'll tell you what is exciting. Me breaking down Dungeons and Dragons. I made a new intro video to let people know who don't know what the game's about, to give them a description. And basically, Dungeons and Dragons is an RPG game where you and some friends get together and one person's who they call the Dungeon Master. And basically, he's just a narrator of a story. And you and your friends go and have an adventure, and you pick classes. And that's what this video is really about. So this supplement called The Rogues Gallery was first published in 1998 by TSR. So before Wizards of the Coast, there was TSR. And not every month, but every few months they would start publishing new supplements, which is the reason why this game has like over 20 million people have played it, and it's a game that's really has stand the test of time. I mean, we're talking like this game, the first box set came out in 1978, so I was playing like in 1979, puts me at 7. And for those of you who are new to the channel, hello, and you can go back to my playlist and you can hear how I got into the game. But this is a book that I kind of wanted to break down because it's a cool supplement that they have reprinted in different variations and improved. But this was the first version of it. So the Rogues Gallery is a supplement listing like, hundreds and hundreds of pre-generated non-player characters, or if you're Dungeon Master, say you're playing the game and all of a sudden your character dies. Well, he could just use this and create a character for you real quick. Or if he needed what they refer to as a non-player character. So I've always did like the art. And for those of you who are not familiar with, so I've had these books for a long time. In fact, I've owned this one in particular at least 2 or 3 copies. This is my first copy, and I've always enjoyed the art on these. But as I explained in a previous video, when you're 8 and 9, and you start getting markers, well, you think that you can improve the picture. Good job, Joaquin. Not. Come on now. I don't know what I was thinking. So these are the different characters. So basically, they give a definition of the different classes you can be. So a cleric is an individual who can are always in the need of healing and divine advice. These are people that can cast spells. They can turn the undead. And so you take a dice, 2 10-sided dice, and now they have 100-sided dice. But back then, you had 2 different color 10-sided dice, and you would just roll. And whoever you rolled, that's who you would be. And it gives you all the stats. And all these abbreviations were also explained in the book. And I'm just going to show you some of the other artwork. So here's a druid, which I thought was cool, and a mind flayer. Yeah. Look at that, people. Destroying a book that goes anywhere now between $25 and $50 is near mint. Woo! Young Joaquin, what were you thinking? Tell you what I was thinking. It's like, this looks cool. But this is a druid. He casts a spell. I think it's like swarm insects. So, another cool art. This is an illusionist. These are mages that specialize in illusions. Yeah, I didn't see that coming, did you? They have monks who are basically like Shaolin priests or Shaolin monks. And so they specialize in hand-to-hand combat, and they have their own sets of rules. That was cool. And a paladin. I always did like these colors on him. I don't know why. Never finished coloring it. Keep it that way. Maybe I'm going to reproduce this art. I never could figure out what kind of creature this was, because it wasn't a dragon. It's just weird how the way they drew it. Looks like some kind of giant insect or something. It just I don't know, it just didn't come across that well, whatever he was trying to do. But still, the figure was cool. Here's a ranger, and if you remember my last story, that damn owlbear, he one-shotted me and killed my first character. I was feeling good about myself. I don't know if they have a picture of a thief. They usually try to have illustrations of most of the classes. But I guess not. So the first time I got this book, when I started as a kid being my own dungeon master with my friends, because as Joey, who was my friend, his older brother Jeff got older, he would play with us occasionally, but it wasn't that often. So I bought the game, and me and my friends would play. So I had these, and I had a basic understanding of the game, but I thought it was always cool to have all these type of rules. So if I ever needed people, I could just look at these charts and, you know, make an adventure. And at the back, they have these personalities. And these are characters that the creator of the game and his friends used to play. And so they put these in here for you to, yeah, look at that. Ooh. Talk about color, people. They put these characters in here. So if you ever needed a non-player character and you were looking for someone unique, you could use these characters. And sometimes you could even actually play them, and they would give you guidelines on how to play the characters. So they had a mixture of like alignments from heroes to villains, and I actually got to play this character right here, which I thought was cool. I thought he was impressive, this big lizard man, only because he had really high stats in his strength, and he was level 10. And this is an assassin. I believe this was a monk character. So the second time that I received this book, I was actually, leave it right there. I was actually in a head-on car collision. It was back in 1992, I want to say. Right when Sleeping Beauty, the animation, first came out. I was going to the movies, and I was taking my nephew, and my mother was dropping me off, because at that point I didn't have a car. Which is a funny story, which I'm going to share. Throughout high school, my parents were like, they weren't gonna buy me a car. They weren't even gonna give me a down payment. And my mother was like, no, you got to wait till you're 18 until you drive, because you got to have your own insurance, and we're not putting you on ours. I was like, thanks, Mom. So I grew up in Fremont, California. So I just got used to other people just driving me around. And whoever I was dating at the time usually had a car. And the girls would usually say, well, if I didn't have a car, what would we go and do? And I said, well, I wouldn't date you then, because we're not taking the bus. And a few of them would laugh, and a couple of them would look at me like, oh, really? But back then I could pull that off. Can't do that now. But either way, a little fun fact about Joaquin. I didn't get my car until I was like 20. And the only reason why I got a car was because at the time I moved to Compton, California. Yes, the home of NWA and gangster rap. And just like you see in the movies, that is real. So I got back to the car accident. I was in a head-on, I'm explaining why I wasn't driving. So I was in a head-on collision, punctured my lungs, and slight concussion, ruptured my spleen. Yeah, it was fun, people. I couldn't do anything really for 6 months. Like they wanted me to do bare minimum, and So we were like, what does that have to do with the Rogues Gallery? Well, it has a lot to do with the Rogues Gallery, people. This is a book that my mother bought me. And when she came in, because I spent like at least a week, about at least a week in the hospital. And growing up, my parents would always buy me these books. And so my mom bought me this book, and when she gave it to me, I was very thankful. And then I told her, because she saw a look in my face, she's like, "What's the matter? It's not the right book?" And I was like, "No, it's the right game. It's just that I already have a copy." And she's like, "Oh, that's okay. I'll take it back." I was like, "No. I'll keep it because I already had this copy here that was all colored. And now that I'm 20, 19, yeah, around that age, I needed a second copy." So this book has always had a special place in my heart because my parents and my father, who had recently passed away, sorry, just a little choked up. He passed away in March. So, we're getting close to a year. And I was very close to my father. And he would always get me books, whether it was like for my birthday or Christmas. And as I got older, I got into other things. And I was into sports but Dungeons and Dragons has always had a special place in my heart because I first really got into reading because I always have enjoyed reading these stories and reading the adventures and the supplements and living in this fantasy world. And as you can see in my other videos, I'm an artist. So this game means even more to me because it always just pushed my imaginations to the limit. And that's what this game means to me. It's like great memories of you and your friends getting together and just having an adventure. I mean, this is like, this is like during the time of when Lord of the Rings came out, those animations, which were great. And you had the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. It was just a good time. And even though you got ostracized in school, like when I was in junior high, after the 7th grade, I didn't really tell anybody that I played RPG games. In fact, I actually cut down. I didn't get back into it until every now and then, like maybe once or twice a year during my high school years. And while I was at the Academy of Arts, I got back into it. Like, I'll take a break for like 5, 6, 7 years, and then I'll get back into the game. But what I've always done is buy these supplements because I enjoy reading them. So we're talking, this game is now up to 5th edition, people. That's a lot of editions, and it's going to keep getting better. And they keep improving the game, and you can go on Wizards of the Coast website if you ever want to find a group of people who play. This game is played like worldwide. It's a great game, and it has a special place in my heart. So that'll do it, people. Hope you enjoyed this episode of the Rogues Gallery and why Dungeons and Dragons has a special meaning to me. Because to me, it's more than just playing a game. It's great memories. Take care, people.